So, when I started doing content for this channel, I never really saw myself covering stuff like news and covering any type of information when it came to gaming, but this is one of those rare cases where there's just so much stuff coming out that I just had to talk about it. And from the title, you can obviously tell I'm talking about SEGA. And that's mostly because I think we're finally starting to see the resurgence of not only Sonic, but also SEGA as a whole. So first things first, we have Sonic Frontiers. And despite the fact that the game did very well, people really did like the game, there are still people out there that try to act like the game was trash and trying to act like, it's a worse game than say Sonic 06 or Sonic Rise of Lyric. But regardless, the final DLC came out last year in September. It was dope, it was great, a lot of people had fun with it. It was kind of difficult in some places, but overall it was a very nice experience that a lot of people enjoyed, and a lot of people really want the next modern Sonic game to take what Frontiers did and expand upon it. Not only that, but the game also sold very well. Last year, I think around May 2023, it was reported that they made around 3.5 million in sales. So take that with the DLC to now, we're looking at about like maybe 4 million, if not 5 million sales for Sonic Frontiers. Next, we had Sonic Superstars. And despite the game not doing too well sales wise, which when you think about it, it makes sense since it released on the same month as Spider-Man 2 and Mario Wonder, so I have no idea why the hell Sega would want to release that game during that month and maybe not like a month later. But either way, the game still managed to sell pretty well around like Black Friday, and I imagine it sold well around Christmas. And considering that a lot of Sonic games go on sale pretty often, and for Superstars it went on sale for I think around like $40, I'd imagine it was able to make some type of sales later down the line. And not only that, but the game itself isn't all that bad either. You had some people complaining about the game at launch, but you know how the Sonic fans can be. Even if the game does have its flaws, it's not overly terrible. It's definitely not my favorite classic Sonic game. A bunch of the bosses could drag on for a long time, and they could be very difficult at times when you're not knowing what you're doing. But overall, once you get over it, it's a very solid Sonic game. We also got Sonic Dream Team, which came out around the end of 2023. And despite the game only being available on Apple Arcade, for the few people, or I say few people, but for the people that were able to play it, it wasn't a bad game. From what I've heard, it's pretty solid, it's a very fun experience. Legit, the only problem that I have seen for this game is that almost nobody likes the voice for Rouge and Cream. Because if you listen to how they sound in the game, they sound like really, really bad. Cream was a little bit more excusable since, she's a kid, but Rouge on the other hand, almost nobody liked how she sounded in that game. Even I don't like the voice. Like, to me, it just sounds like nails on a chalkboard whenever she's speaking in that game. Last but not least, we also had the announcement of Sonic X Shadow Generations, which kind of like Colors Ultimate. It's gonna be a remaster of the original Sonic Generations, but with this game, they're gonna be adding a brand new story featuring Shadow, with him apparently gonna be reliving his past memories. Now, there were rumors of this game going around before it was actually announced, and people were assuming that this was gonna be like a Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury type of thing, and basically a lot of those people were not lying. They're also gonna be bringing back Black Doom from Shadow the Hedgehog as the main villain, I guess. I mean, it's not really like fully confirmed what his role is gonna be, as well as Shadow's going to be a customizable skin in Sonic Superstars later down the line. And the best part about all of this being announced is that it's gonna be done in-house by Sonic Team, meaning it won't be a glitchy mess like Sonic Colors Ultimate, which was done by Blind Squirrel Games, and will hopefully have the same level of polish as the original games. But that's not everything, as we also have other projects like the TV shows and the movies. First, we had Sonic Prime, which came out towards the end of 2022 and ended up finishing last month. And in my honest opinion, the show was just okay at best. The show had a really strong start and it got even better with season 2, but they fumbled the bag immensely with season 3, which is a shame since the show could have had the potential to be better than something like Sonic X. But the ending for Sonic Prime was just so bad that I'd honestly argue that it's a worse show than Sonic Sat AM or even a show like Sonic Underground. And those shows didn't even have like proper finales because they were canceled. But anyways, other than that, we also have Sonic Movie 3, which recently got a teaser trailer, and shortly afterwards it was confirmed that Crush 40 was going to be featured in the film itself, with Live and Learn being one of the songs that's going to be played, which is something a lot of people have been asking for, since the Sonic movies are not known for their music. Like, everybody likes to talk about how Sonic has a lot of good music, but the Sonic movies is just not one of them. And after the Mario movie, people have basically been praying that there was at least some video game influence in Sonic Movie 3. And not only that, we also got the cast announced for the movie as well, alongside a new trailer for the Knuckles TV spin-off, which was also announced when Sonic Movie 2 was coming out around that time. And from the trailers, it seems really good. It definitely seems like it's going to be more on the lighter, funnier side, but that's fine with me. And you know, despite it only being 6 episodes, I could be wrong, but I heard the actual episodes themselves are going to be like 45 minutes long. Once again, I could be wrong about that, so we're just going to have to wait and see as we get more information about the show. And very recently, I actually saw this when I was on my way to work. Bentley Jones, the guy who did Silver's theme in Sonic 06, he recently came out on Twitter talking about how he's actually working for a few more projects with the series. And realize how I say projects and not just, you know, a singular project, because that's what he says, but we don't really know what he's actually working on. It could just be music for the new Sonic and Shadow game. There's also a possibility of there being some type of Silver the Hedgehog game coming out, which seems very unlikely, but you know, with the way Sonic Team has been handling and you know, the way SEGA has been handling Sonic moving forward, you know, there is some hope that he might get his own game. And with all this stuff happening all at once, I feel like you can't help but somewhat agree on the fact that Sonic and SEGA in general are finally starting to feel like they're making a comeback. Like, for a while, Sonic was just kind of a laughing stock in the gaming community, and the only thing that was really keeping SEGA around was Yakuza and Persona. So seeing them starting to treat the Sonic games with a bit more care, as well as announcing a bunch of older series that they haven't touched in a while, it's a really good thing to see, you know. As to how they can maintain this level of quality, I'm not entirely sure. I'm obviously no game developer, and when it comes to series like Yakuza, I have not touched it, and I'm still very new to Persona. But with Sonic, I feel like it's pretty obvious what they should be doing with him moving forward. One of those things is giving Sonic Team a bigger budget, as well as giving them more time. Because if there's one thing that SEGA likes to do with the Sonic games, is that they love to rush them out as quickly as they possibly can. We saw it with 06, we saw it with Rise of Lyric, and we even saw it with Sonic Origins, with one of the people that were working on the game actually coming out on Twitter talking about how they asked SEGA for more time and they weren't granted that. There are obviously other little things that they can improve upon. Like, I know one thing a lot of people have been asking for is for them to improve the models, because some of the models and the renders that they have for the characters look okay to downright horrendous. In fact, even Sonic Dream Team got a lot of praise due to how good the character models were in that game. And not just the character models, but also how they were animated in the game as well. So if they could bring that type of stuff for the next mainline Sonic game, which I heard was gonna feature Shadow so it could kind of like cash in with the movie, then this could finally be the turning point in which Sonic will finally be given his flowers and the respect he deserves. And that's honestly it for the video. I know there's still a bunch of stuff I didn't cover, like the IDW comics or the increasing quality of the Sonic fan games, but I mostly just wanted to cover all of this stuff that was coming out recently because I've been wanting to make a video, but so much of this information has just been coming out just day after day after day that I wasn't able to keep up with it. but now that things are finally, like slowing down, I decided to hop on this video as soon as I could. But other than that, I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I'll see y'all next week.
Finally, something interesting.